Society has programmed you to believe that being mentally exhausted is a personal failure, but pharmaceutical companies are making billions selling you solutions to problems they help create. They profit from your anxiety, your depression, your inability to focus, while never addressing the real issue. Your mind is overloaded, not broken. Every scroll through social media is a mental battle. Every notification is a mental interruption. Every comparison you make is mental warfare. But instead of teaching you to fight smarter, they're teaching you to medicate the symptoms, while the real disease, mental overwhelm, continues to destroy your potential from the inside out. Your phone buzzes at 6 a.m. Before your feet touch the floor, your mind has already processed 17 different thoughts about what you need to accomplish today. By 7 a.m., you've mentally rehearsed 3 conversations, worried about 2 deadlines, and questioned 5 decisions you made yesterday. By noon, you feel like you run a marathon, but all you've done is sit at a desk. Sound familiar? Here's what nobody tells you. You're not lazy. You're mentally exhausted. Your mind has been fighting battles that would make a gladiator surrender, and society has the audacity to call you unmotivated. That's like calling a boxer weak after he's been fighting for 12 rounds straight. The problem isn't your character. The problem is that you've been in a mental war zone without even knowing it. I want to tell you about Marcus, a marathon runner who trained for 2 years to run the Boston Marathon. This man could run 26 miles without breaking a sweat. His body was a machine, perfectly conditioned for endurance. But on race day, something happened that shocked everyone, including himself. At mile 18, with 8 miles left to go, Marcus collapsed. Not from physical exhaustion. His body was fine. His heart rate was normal. His muscles weren't cramping. He collapsed because his mind gave up. The paramedics found nothing wrong with him physically, but what they discovered was that Marcus had been fighting a mental battle for months leading up to the race. He was going through a divorce, his business was failing, and he was questioning every decision he'd ever made. His mind was so tired from fighting these invisible battles that when it came time to push through the most challenging part of the race, his mental reserves were empty. This is your life. You wake up every morning thinking you're just tired, but you're not tired, you're depleted. Your mind has been running its own marathon, fighting battles you didn't even sign up for. Every time you scroll through social media and compare yourself to others, that's a mental fight. Every time you replay a conversation from 3 days ago, wondering if you said the wrong thing, that's a mental fight. Every time you lie in bed at night thinking about all the things you should have done differently, that's a mental fight. Your mind is not lazy. Your mind is tired of fighting. And until you understand this fundamental truth, you'll keep blaming yourself for something that isn't your fault. You'll keep calling yourself unmotivated when what you really are is mentally overloaded. You'll keep pushing harder when what you need to do is fight smarter. The human brain makes approximately 35,000 decisions every single day. 35,000. That's more decisions than most people make in a lifetime, and you're making them before breakfast. What color shirt to wear, what route to take to work, what to eat for lunch, whether to respond to that text message now or later, whether to check your email one more time before bed. Each decision, no matter how small, requires mental energy. Just like your phone battery, your mental energy can be drained. But here's where it gets interesting. Physical tiredness and mental tiredness are not the same thing. When you're physically tired, you rest and your body recovers. But when you're mentally tired, sleep doesn't fix it. You can sleep for 12 hours and wake up feeling just as mentally exhausted as when you went to bed. That's because mental fatigue isn't about rest. It's about the battles your mind has been fighting while you were sleeping. Mental fatigue is like having 50 browser tabs open on your computer. Each tab is using processing power, slowing down the entire system. You might not be actively looking at all 50 tabs, but they're all running in the background, consuming resources. Your mind works the same way. You might not be actively thinking about that argument you had with your spouse last week, but it's still running in the background. You might not be consciously worried about that project deadline, but your mind is still processing it. Let me tell you about Sarah, a CEO who built a multi-million-dollar company from nothing. From the outside, she had everything: success, money, respect, influence. But inside, she was dying. She would sit in her corner office looking out at the city skyline and feel absolutely nothing. She had achieved everything she thought would make her happy, but happiness felt like a foreign concept. Sarah came to me one day and said, "I don't understand what's wrong with me. I have everything I ever wanted, but I feel empty. I must be broken." But Sarah wasn't broken. Sarah was mentally exhausted. She had been fighting so many battles for so long that she had forgotten what peace felt like. Every decision she made came with the weight of hundreds of employees depending on her. Every phone call was a potential crisis. Every email was a problem to solve. Her mind had been in constant battle mode for so long that she had forgotten how to rest. The tragedy is that Sarah thought she was lazy when she couldn't summon the energy to be excited about her achievements. She thought she was ungrateful when she couldn't feel joy about her success. But Sarah wasn't lazy or ungrateful. Sarah was mentally tired. Her mind had been fighting so many battles that it had nothing left to give. This is the hidden epidemic of our time. We live in a world that celebrates busyness and glorifies exhaustion. We wear our tiredness like a badge of honor, as if being overwhelmed is a sign of importance. But what we don't realize is that we're not just tired, we're mentally depleted. And mental depletion doesn't look like physical tiredness, it looks like procrastination. It looks like lack of motivation. It looks like laziness. But you're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. You're not weak. Your mind is just tired of fighting battles that were never yours to fight in the first place. Your mind is tired of carrying weights that were never meant for you to carry. Your mind is tired of running races that have no finish line. The energy thieves in your life are not always obvious. They're not just the big, dramatic problems. Sometimes they're the small, persistent thoughts that nibble away at your mental energy like termites eating away at a house. The constant worry about what others think of you. The endless replay of conversations that didn't go the way you wanted. The mental rehearsal of scenarios that may never happen. The comparison game that never ends. Every time you check social media and see someone else's highlight reel, your mind goes to work. It starts comparing, calculating, evaluating. It asks questions like, why aren't I that successful? Why don't I have what they have? What am I doing wrong? These questions seem harmless, but they're actually mental battles, and your mind fights them whether you want it to or not. The real enemy isn't the external circumstances. The real enemy is the internal dialogue that never stops. The voice in your head that questions every decision, doubts every accomplishment, and fears every possibility. That voice has been fighting battles on your behalf for so long that it doesn't know how to stop. And when that voice gets tired, you feel lazy. When that voice gets overwhelmed, you feel unmotivated. When that voice gets defeated, you feel hopeless. But here's what I want you to understand. Recognizing the real enemy is the first step to winning the war. Once you understand that your mind has been fighting battles you didn't even know existed, you can start to choose which battles are worth fighting and which ones you need to walk away from. The prison of overthinking is real, and most people don't even know they're in it. They think they're being thorough when they're actually being paralyzed. They think they're being careful when they're actually being controlled by fear. They think they're being responsible when they're actually being ridiculous. Analysis paralysis is when you think so much about doing something that you never actually do it. It's when you spend more time planning than executing, more time preparing than performing, more time thinking than acting. It's when you get so caught up in the possibility of making the wrong decision that you make no decision at all. But here's the truth. The perfect decision doesn't exist. The perfect time doesn't exist. The perfect circumstances don't exist. While you're waiting for perfection, life is passing you by. While you're overthinking, others are taking action. While you're paralyzed by possibilities, others are creating realities. I knew a man named David who wanted to start his own business for 15 years. 15 years. He had the idea, he had the skills, he had the resources, but he never started. Why? Because he was trapped in the prison of overthinking. He spent 15 years thinking about all the things that could go wrong instead of focusing on all the things that could go right. He researched every possible scenario, created business plans for situations that would never happen, and prepared for problems that existed only in his mind. Meanwhile, his friend Tom had the same idea, spent 2 weeks planning, and launched his business. Tom's business wasn't perfect, but it was real. He made mistakes, but he learned from them. He faced challenges, but he overcame them. And after 5 years, Tom's imperfect business was generating more income than David's perfect plan ever could. David wasn't lazy. David was mentally exhausted from fighting battles in his head. He was so busy preparing for war that he forgot to live in peace. He was so focused on avoiding failure that he never gave himself the chance to succeed. The comparison trap is another mental prison that keeps you fighting battles you were never meant to fight. Social media has turned life into a highlight reel competition where everyone else seems to be winning and you seem to be losing. But what you don't see is the behind-the-scenes reality. You don't see the struggles, the failures, the moments of doubt, the times when they wanted to give up. When you compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel, you're fighting a battle you could never win. You're measuring your worst moments against their best moments. You're judging your process by their results. You're comparing your chapter 1 to their chapter 20. Let me tell you about Maria, an artist who had incredible talent but stopped creating because she fell into the comparison trap. She would spend hours on social media looking at other artists' work, and instead of being inspired, she became intimidated. She would see their perfect paintings and think about her imperfect sketches. She would see their thousands of followers and think about her handful of supporters. She would see their gallery exhibitions and think about her empty studio. Maria stopped creating not because she lacked talent, but because she was mentally exhausted from fighting the comparison battle every day. Her mind was so busy measuring her worth against others that it had no energy left for creativity. She was so focused on what she was. The tragedy is that Maria had a unique voice, a distinctive style, a gift that the world needed to see. But she silenced herself because she thought she wasn't good enough. She stopped creating because she was tired of fighting the battle of comparison. But comparison is a battle you can never win because there will always be someone who seems better, more successful, more talented, more everything. The way out of the comparison trap is to realize that you're not competing with anyone else. You're only competing with who you were yesterday. The goal isn't to be better than others. The goal is to be better than your former self. The goal isn't to have what others have. The goal is to become who you were meant to be. Breaking free from the prison of overthinking and comparison requires a fundamental shift in how you think about your mind. Your mind is not your enemy, but it's also not always your friend. Your mind is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used constructively or destructively. The key is learning to use it intentionally instead of letting it use you. The secret to mental freedom is understanding that you don't have to fight every battle your mind presents to you. You don't have to engage with every thought that comes into your head. You don't have to solve every problem your mind creates. Some battles are worth fighting, and some battles are worth walking away from. When you learn to choose your battles wisely, something amazing happens. Your mental energy is no longer scattered across 100 different fights. Instead, it becomes focused on the few battles that actually matter. And when your mental energy is focused, you become unstoppable. Your mind needs restoration, just like your body needs rest. But mental restoration doesn't happen automatically. It requires intentional action. It requires you to create boundaries around your thoughts, to limit your exposure to mental energy thieves, and to protect your peace like it's the most valuable thing you own. The first step in mental restoration is learning to say no. Not just to requests from others, but to the demands your own mind makes on you. Your mind will tell you that you need to worry about things you can't control. Say no. Your mind will tell you that you need to solve problems that aren't yours to solve. Say no. Every time you say no to an unnecessary mental battle, you're saying yes to your mental energy. Every time you refuse to engage with thoughts that don't serve you, you're investing in thoughts that do. Every time you choose peace over chaos, you're building mental strength. Simplification is another key to mental restoration. The more complex your life becomes, the more mental energy it requires to manage. The more decisions you have to make, the more quickly you become mentally fatigued. The solution isn't to make better decisions faster. The solution is to make fewer decisions altogether. Steve Jobs wore the same outfit every day, not because he lacked fashion sense, but because he understood the power of simplification. He eliminated one decision from his day so he could focus his mental energy on the decisions that mattered. He understood that mental energy is finite, and he chose to spend his on creating revolutionary products instead of choosing between blue jeans and black jeans. You can apply the same principle to your life. Look for areas where you can create systems that eliminate decisions. Set up automatic payments for your bills so you don't have to decide when to pay them. Plan your meals for the week so you don't have to decide what to eat every day. Create routines that turn decisions into habits. The goal isn't to eliminate all decisions from your life. The goal is to eliminate the decisions that don't matter so you can focus on the ones that do. The goal is to free up mental energy for the battles worth fighting. Focus restoration is like physical therapy for your mind. Just as you might need to rebuild strength in a muscle after an injury, you might need to rebuild your ability to focus after mental exhaustion. The good news is that focus is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. Start small. Choose one task and commit to focusing on it for just 10 minutes without distraction. No phone, no email, no social media, no mental multitasking. Just 10 minutes of pure focus. When your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the task. Don't fight the wandering, just redirect it. As your focus muscle gets stronger, you can increase the time, 15 minutes, then 20, then 30. Eventually, you'll be able to focus for hours at a time without feeling mentally drained. But it starts with 10 minutes of intentional practice. Building mental stamina is about training your mind like an athlete trains their body. Athletes don't expect to run a marathon without training. They start with short distances and gradually build up their endurance. Your mind works the same way. You can't expect to have unlimited mental energy without training your mind to handle increasing levels of mental demand. And stamina training involves gradually increasing your capacity to handle mental challenges. Start with manageable mental tasks and slowly increase the difficulty. Challenge yourself to solve more complex problems, to focus for longer periods, to resist distractions for greater lengths of time. But just like physical training, mental training requires rest and recovery. You can't train your mind to exhaustion and expect it to perform at its best. You need to balance mental challenges with mental rest, mental work with mental play, mental intensity with mental relaxation. The champion's mindset is about redefining what it means to be productive. Our culture has taught us that productivity means doing more, faster, all the time. But true productivity isn't about quantity, it's about quality. It's not about how much you do. It's about how well you do what matters most. A champion doesn't win by fighting every battle. A champion wins by choosing the right battles and fighting them with everything they've got. A champion doesn't scatter their energy across 100 different goals. A champion focuses their energy on the few goals that will make the biggest difference. When you understand that you're not lazy, that your mind is just tired of fighting, you can start to fight smarter instead of harder. You can start to choose your battles instead of letting your battles choose you. You can start to use your mental energy intentionally instead of letting it drain away on things that don't matter. Every moment is a fresh start. Every breath is a new beginning. Every day is a chance to reset your mental state and choose a different way of thinking. You don't have to carry the mental fatigue of yesterday into today. You don't have to let the battles of the past determine the peace of the present. Action is different from motion. Motion is busy work that makes you feel productive but doesn't actually move you forward. Action is purposeful movement that takes you closer to your goals. Motion is running on a treadmill. Action is running toward a destination. When your mind is clear and focused, you can tell the difference between action and motion. You can see which activities are worth your time and which ones are just distractions. You can invest your mental energy in things that matter instead of scattering it on things that don't. Your mental legacy is what you build when your mind is no longer tired of fighting. It's what you create when you choose your battles wisely. It's what you accomplish when you focus your mental energy on the things that truly matter. It's the difference you make when you're no longer mentally exhausted. You are not lazy. You never were lazy. You are a champion who has been fighting battles that weren't yours to fight. You are a warrior who has been carrying weights that weren't yours to carry. You are a runner who has been racing against opponents who exist only in your mind. But now you know the truth. Now you understand that your mind has been tired, not lazy. Now you can choose to fight smarter, not harder. Now you can invest your mental energy in building the life you want instead of fighting the battles you don't need to fight. The battles that matter are the ones that move you forward. The battles that matter are the ones that help you grow. The battles that matter are the ones that make a difference in your life and the lives of others. Everything else, you have more mental strength than you realize. You have more mental capacity than you know. You have more mental power than you've ever used. But you've been wasting it on battles that don't matter. You've been spending it on worries that don't help. You've been investing it in fears that don't serve you. Today is the day you stop fighting battles that aren't yours to fight. Today is the day you start choosing your mental battles wisely. Today is the day you realize that you're not lazy, you're just a champion who has been fighting the wrong opponents. Your mind is ready to win. Your mind is ready to focus. Your mind is ready to create. Your mind is ready to build. Your mind is ready to achieve. But first, your mind needs to stop fighting battles that don't matter and start fighting for dreams that do. You are not lazy. You are a champion, learning to fight smarter. And when you fight smarter, you don't just win battles, you win wars. You don't just survive, you thrive. You don't just exist, you live with purpose, passion, and power. The fight is not over, the fight is just beginning. But now you know how to win. Stop waiting for permission to rest your mind. Stop apologizing for needing mental space. Stop feeling guilty about protecting your peace. Your mental energy is not unlimited, and treating it like it is has been destroying you from the inside out. You wouldn't expect your car to run forever without fuel, yet you've been expecting your mind to perform miracles while running on empty. The people who call you lazy don't understand the war you've been fighting. They see you sitting still and think you're doing nothing, but your mind has been running marathons. They see you taking breaks and think you're being weak, but you're actually being wise. They see you saying no to their demands and think you're being selfish, but you're actually being strategic. Your mental health is not negotiable. Your peace of mind is not optional. Your right to mental rest is not something you have to earn. You were born with the right to think clearly, to feel deeply, and to live fully, but somewhere along the way, you gave that right away to a world that demands everything and gives nothing back. Take it back. Take back your mental energy. Take back your peace. Take back your power. You are not lazy. You are learning to live again.